Welcome to the Voice for Dads podcast.
Hey guys, and welcome to this episode of Voice for Dads. This is a slightly different one to what we usually do. And I'm joined today in the studio by a dad called Scot. Hi Scot.
How you doing?
I'm good, mate. What a name.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
No, thanks for having me.
Sorry under the circumstances.
Yes, sir.
My plan here is just to, the floor is yours. Just tell us what brings you here. You reached out to us after seeing some of our content and our banners and decided, you've got a story you want to tell.
No, definitely. And first off, I just have to say, where's the hot wings? When are you breaking the hot wings out?
Well, that runabout out there, I couldn't find you got them.
Different podcast, sorry. No, definitely, I do feel I have a story, and the sort of primary message I want to get across to all dads and men in general is talk. Just talk. There's always someone that's going to listen, and you need to talk, because I didn't believe in talking. People have been telling me to talk for 5-6 years now, and I've told them to shut up. I didn't believe in it, but it's taken me actually talking to someone. You know who you are. Shout out to you, by the way. To actually start feeling better and start feeling a bit positive and actually believing that I can do this. Because I've spent the last 7 or 8 months thinking I couldn't. So it was a Paddy The Baddy, the UFC guy. It was a quote from him I saw. He did a post-fight interview where he'd sadly lost a friend through suicide. And he made the comment that he'd much rather his friend cried down the phone to him for 10 minutes than he'd have to stand at a funeral and cry. Yeah. And that kind of hit the nail on the head for me and sort of drove the message home that, if you don't talk, crying doesn't kill you. Your feelings don't kill you. Crying and screaming into a pillow doesn't kill you, but your feelings can kill you, because if you keep them bottled up, you're going to end up doing something stupid. So just talk. Always talk. If there's an issue, talk. There's always someone that will listen, and it does make you feel better, and it does make you, as I say, believe that you can get over it and carry on. Yeah,
I completely agree. I completely agree with everything you just said. And a year ago today, to this very day, that your life changed dramatically. But before we got into that, you touched on you've been told to talk to someone for, say, 5-6 years. So would that indicate that your mental health's not been, in great shape for a while?
Definitely. And again, I didn't believe in any mental health issues until it happened to me. People would come to me and say that, depression or they had a mental health issue, and I'd pull yourself together was my attitude. And it happened to me. So I worked in the prison service for 10 years down south. And towards the end of that, I had a bit of a mental breakdown, to put it lightly. And since then, my mental health's kind of been up and down. We lost my father-in-law and mother-in-law, who my wife and I and my boys were very close to. And it's just kind of been 3-4 months down, 3-4 months up since then, really. And I get, like I say, I've been told, talk to someone, and that's a load of rubbish. That don't work. Lo and behold, I was wrong. So I kind of like to think of myself as a mental health survivor. I've seriously considered suicide twice in my life. Once was a few years ago when I was suffering really bad, and the second time was this time last year, which I'm sure we'll get into in a minute.
Yeah. So today is the 15th of April. So take us back to the 15th of April 2025.
So at the age of 38, my wife of 16 years unfortunately passed away unexpectedly. She wasn't ill, she wasn't suffering. She went to sleep one night and unfortunately didn't wake up. And my life got flipped upside down. I wasn't sent to Bel Air to live with my uncle and auntie, which is the rest of that song. But yeah, I've had to, sorry, excuse me. I've had to learn to get on and make the best of life that we can for my boys' sake. I've got 3 boys. Shout out to you if you're watching, boys. So as I say, I've had to learn very quickly to adapt and turn my life back the right way around.
Yeah. So when something like that happens to whether it be a mum or a dad, and you've got 3 boys to look after, you've got no choice but to be strong.
Yeah.
you know, and someone, a situation like that would just break, you know, most people, and you can't. You have to stay strong, stronger now than ever.
Which has taken me almost a year to fully understand and realise. You know, there's no one's coming to help me. I haven't got a fairy godmother or a secret billionaire uncle, not even Batman. No one's coming to help me, so you have to get on and do it yourself.
Yeah. So you're obviously English, right? And that's a shame,
Thank
but
you.
you're English. So how long have you moved
My
up?
passport says British, Scot, but anyway.
Since you moved up here.
So it was November 24 we moved up here.
Right, and was your wife English as well?
Yeah.
Right.
So my mum's side of the family are all Scottish, and I can identify as what I want, so I identify as Scottish. But no, I've always considered myself Scottish, you know, support the Scotland teams and things. So
Yeah. So what made you move up here then?
The plan was always to move up here at some point. Originally, much later on in our life.
Right.
But the kids sort of fell in love with the place, and my wife just, like I say, she'd always wanted to stick close to her mum and dad. Unfortunately, we lost them 2019 and 2023. And one day just sat having a conversation. She just looked at me and said, I think, let's do it, let's move. So we did.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I've never seen my children as happy as they are now up here. You know, one of them plays rugby, he's settled in his rugby team. Another plays football, he's settled in his football team. They've all made friends. They're all happy at school. Yeah, they love it up here.
Yeah.
After last year, we did seriously have a conversation about moving back down, but just for like the support. Obviously, all the family and friends are down there, but.
So what is the family support you've got up here? Who do you have around you?
So I've got two cousins who have been great, and that's pretty much it.
That's it.
Made a few friends, but you know, it is kind of just us at the minute.
Right. So I take it, have you thought about moving back down? Is it going to happen?
Yeah. So like I say, after last year, we had a serious conversation about it, but the boys all just said no. They're happy up here, and let's make it work up here. So. That's what we're trying to do.
Right, okay. So this happened last year. So talk us through what happened that night then.
So my wife suffered from seizures following a sterilisation after the twins. And yeah, she went to sleep one night. She had a seizure in her sleep. I put her in a recovery position, called the ambulance. Unfortunately, she stopped breathing. Between myself and the paramedics, we managed to get the heart going again, but she'd been out too long. Lack of oxygen to the brain had caused brain damage, so she was put in a coma at the hospital, and 3-4 days she was in the coma, and I was asked to make that decision, which is the hardest thing I think. Maybe the second hardest thing I've ever had to do. The first hardest thing was telling my children that their mum had gone. But yeah, so we the chances of her coming back, you know, waking up and breathing on her own and things was minimal. So the doctor advised that the best thing for Hannah to be would be to let her go. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's what we had to do.
I mean, that's a situation that most people will never experience.
I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy, bud, to be honest. I really wouldn't. It was horrible.
But when you said she suffered from seizures, I take it that night in particular, it wasn't like a panic to you. Was this kind of, you've been here before, she'll be okay?
Yeah. Like I say, following an issue with sterilisation, she suffered from metal poisoning. The spring they used had dissolved inside her body. So one of these things was seizures. She must have had 3 or 4 a year at this point. And as you say, you learn how to deal with them. You know, you don't panic. Put her in a recovery position, support her head.
I'm guessing the first few you would have panicked.
Absolutely,
but after a while you start getting used to them.
Definitely, yeah. So yeah, I don't know if that made it better or worse, but not. You know, it was just another Sunday night almost. You know, the seizures were so often. So, yeah, just expected her to come round, and unfortunately, yeah, she didn't. So,
what age were the boys?
At the time, they were 13 and 11. They're now 14 and 12. As I say, coming back home that day and sitting them all down and having to tell them, you know, Mum's gone to heaven. Single most hardest thing I think I've ever had to do in my life. I rehearsed it the whole way home in the car, and I just
Did you have anyone there with you?
yeah. So Hannah's two brothers had come up when she got into hospital, obviously, and their wives. So yeah, I had the the family around and things, and one of my sister-in-laws did offer to come and sit with me, but I just kind of felt it had to be me. So yeah, it's the four of us in a bedroom, and I mean, there's nothing you can say to make it better. There's nothing you can, no matter how you spin it. Yeah, bless them.
And how have the boys been since?
Very good. In their defence, very good, yeah. My oldest especially, my oldest has stepped up. He does a lot of cooking for me and things, and he has become almost my best friend. We talk a lot. But given the circumstances, they've managed incredibly well, and hats off to them. Yeah. I certainly wouldn't have seen that beforehand, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely tragic. It's hard to put into words.
Yeah.
And I think we are only a year down the line. You said before we started recording, this is the last first.
Yeah. That's kind of given me a little bit of comfort almost. It's, we've done the first birthday, Christmas, Mother's Day, Easter. Our wedding anniversary was a few days ago. And now it's the first anniversary we're going. So all the firsts are done with. Which should make it easier to manage, I'm hoping, yeah.
Yeah, so you're hoping from this point on that it gets slightly easier each day and week that passes.
And it's only been, it's weird, it's only been the last few weeks that I've actually started being a bit more positive. I don't like using that word, it makes me sound like I'm, but anyway. But yeah, I'm starting
I think it's fair though to say that, of positive. I think it's a fair word to use, because you have to be for the boys' sake.
Definitely. No, definitely. Yeah, just a bit more stronger and having a more mature outlook on it, and it's never going to get better, never. But as I say, it should get easier to manage.
Should get easier, yeah. Can I take you back to when you said that your second suicidal thought was this time last year? What happened there? Was that after this initial seizure? Was that obviously after the decision with the hospital 3-4 days later? Yeah,
it was after Hannah had gone. I was alone at the house, and I wanted to be with her. I know I had the children and things. It was a stupid thing to think, but at that point, that's how painful it was. I just wanted to be with my wife, and I figured that was the way to do it. But it was a short thought. Didn't last long. Obviously, I wouldn't do that to my boys. But yeah, as I say, I was just desperate to see her again. Just talk to her one more time, and
the boys need you now more than ever.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing. Yeah, I couldn't do that to them.
And at what point did you realise that speaking about this was the right thing to do?
Funnily enough, not too long ago, maybe just before Christmas. I've been told all year you need to talk to someone, whether it's professional or otherwise. It's not going to help. Don't worry about it. And then I met someone accidentally who's in similar circumstances to me, lost her husband. So I've been talking to her, and it's like building up the courage to rip off a Band-Aid. And then you finally do it, and you realise you should have done it a long time ago, because it's not that bad, if that makes sense. You get things off your chest, and you talk about things you didn't even think were an issue or think that you thought about. And not necessarily talking about Hannah or the situation I'm in, but just talking to someone in general. I mean, I've had very little adult company since my wife passed. Obviously, not knowing too many people up here. So again, just to excuse my French, just to talk shit to someone, just to moan about your day, just to talk about sports scores, the weather, just anything. Just it's nice to be able to talk to someone again. The sort of conversations I would be having with Hannah. Yeah. Seeing something ridiculous on TikTok and going, have a look at this. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And is she in similar circumstances then? She lost her husband?
Yeah. Yeah, she lost her husband, so it's still raw for her, and she's experiencing the same things I'm experiencing. And you know, when I talk to her, like I say, I kind of feel when things like this happen, a lot of people say to you, "I'm here to talk to. If you ever need anything, call me." But I don't know whether it's silly or not. But I used to think, but you don't have a clue though.
Yeah.
Your husband's here, your wife's here. You know, I appreciate the offer, but
You can't relate to the situation, you know.
so having someone that 100% relates to everything, it's like a weight's been lifted.
You're there to comfort each other.
100%, yeah. And as I say, it could be things you didn't even realise you thought of. How cold the bed is when you get in the bed at night, or you're organising a wardrobe, just stupid things. And then, you know, you speak to them and they've done exactly the same thing, or they're thinking exactly the same thing, and it makes you feel so much better about it. So much better about it. And as I say, I should have done this months ago, because I would have saved months of pain and months of hurt and months of unsettledness for the boys. Wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
But there you go. Live and learn.
How's it been with yourself and work? What
So,
happens there?
Unfortunately, I had to stop work, obviously, when this happened. I've been trying to get, you know, a part-time job around the boys' school hours, but
What did you do for work?
I worked at an auction company in Kilmarnock,
Right.
Property auctions, land auctions, which was fun. But yeah, I had to knock that on the head.
I take it they were understanding and you just
Absolutely.
said no longer.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Which is great of them, yeah, really great of them. But yeah, they're almost old enough to be trusted for a couple of hours, but not quite.
Yeah.
Maybe not even old, mature enough is the right word. Yeah. My eldest and so Jacques and Harry would kill each other. They would kill each other if they were left alone, given the opportunity.
So you're able to give up work. I take it financially, how are you able to survive?
Barely, but we managed just about, universal credit and bits and pieces that you can claim for the boys and things. It's been tough. It has been hard. And I was, on that as well, I did feel a bit stared at when I used to go to the job centre and things, because I think there's a bit of a stigma around men claiming these sort of things. Yeah, I just kind of felt, like I say, people were like looking at me and judging me and looking down the nose at me when I used to go to.
Well, they don't know your situation at all, though, do they? So
No. But no, yeah. So we've managed just about. I do need to find a job because it's not. Like I say, we've just scraped by, and I'm bored of scraping by now. I want to enjoy things in life and holidays and whatever else. So, yeah, I do need to find a job.
just one that works around school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is few and far between.
So this person that you've met who's in a similar circumstance, is that the only person you've kind of opened up to and realised that you should be speaking to someone?
No, I spoke to a friend. I spent a great deal of time speaking to a friend last year about things, but I didn't feel I was. I was almost tricked into doing it, which is not a bad thing. I'm just saying I didn't realise I was talking about it. And yeah, it was only sort of like 3 or 4 months of last year. And then it's kind of the contact's faded away, which happens as well, which is quite upsetting. You contact with people that, again, say they'll be there every day and say they're just a phone call away and they don't answer the phone.
They really are, yeah.
But no, so it was this particular friend, and then now, yeah. So, but yeah, I'm so grateful that I've managed to find this person and be able to talk to this person, because, as I say, I didn't believe in talk, and now I'm a big promoter of it. Hence why I'd like to be here and talk to you guys.
Yeah. No, I mean it's kind of refreshing to hear, I suppose, because I'm a great believer in it, and speaking, regardless of your situation. I said before we started recording, I go to Andy's Man's Club every week in air, and I would recommend any man, any teenager upwards to go if they're struggling with anything. Just go and have a vent, have a rant, or just have a listen.
Yeah.
Don't even need to speak, but sometimes just listen. But your situation is not getting away from it is absolutely awful and tragic for especially not just you but the boys to go through, and at that age as well. And I mean, just as well I've got a dad that's as strong as you are, though, because he must be. He must be.
I'd like to think so. And like I say, I do feel I am getting stronger. The sort of further away we get from it.
Well, the fact you're only a year, it's a year today is not long, but you've no choice but to be strong. There's no choice. You can't sit in a fetal position crying because your boys are still going to help the boys.
And also looking at, obviously Hannah wouldn't want me sort of sitting around moping, making things worse and causing issues, so she'd want me to get up, and I just want the boys to have as normal a life as possible.
Yeah.
They've had, my oldest rugby club have been fantastic. The boys there have been fantastic, sort of a community around him. And likewise, my boys' football team.
What is the rugby club and football team they go to?
So Mar in Troon and Air Thistle, this football club, yeah. So when this happened, my boy was at Anbank, and there was a coach there called Craig who was fantastic. And I consider him a friend now, still in touch. And then he's moved on to Air, and like I say, they've been fantastic, and I can't fault them. It's so comforting, especially being almost an outsider coming from down south up here and coming into these clubs as newbies, and everyone sort of put their arms around us and almost looked after us. So, I mean, I couldn't be more grateful. As I say, the boys are so happy up here. Part of that is their clubs being so fantastic with them. And as I say, I just want them to have as normal a life as possible.
And how's school been for them?
Okay. They've had a few issues of... so someone made a comment to my youngest is autistic, Theo. And he's had a couple of people make comments about his mum, whether negative or positive. He's taken them as negative. How dare you talk about my mum? So a few behavioural issues with him. But apart from that, which was an isolated incident almost, it's been great. School have been great. They're getting on really well at school. They seem to enjoy it better up here as well. So yeah, I mean, everything's just kind of falling into place now, and we're trying to. It sounds like I'm not sort of honouring Hannah's memory, but I'm just trying to put the last year behind us in terms of the struggles and the pain and things, and it's a rebirth now. It's a restart. Let's just start again and try and, as I say, have as normal a life as possible. We'll still always remember your mum. We'll still always love your mum. Mum's always going to be with us, but we're here and we need to make our lives now.
Yeah.
Which is, like I say, where that sort of positivity switch is coming. I've spent the last year thinking it's shit, I don't care, whatever, Hannah's not here. Whereas now I'm like, well, she's not here, you're right, but we are. And hopefully we've got a fair few years left yet, so let's make the most of it as we can. And she wouldn't want us moping around. So, let's get on, sort of thing.
I think you're absolutely right. She wouldn't. She would want to see you shine and the boys shine and do well.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's hard to put into words, mate, but I really do appreciate you speaking up. And I'm sure there'll be people watch this that probably been in similar situations as well.
Hopefully, and like I say, the message I want to give is just talk. You might feel like me, talking's a load of bollocks. It's not going to help, but you need to, because there are people out there, as I say, similar circumstances even, and until you start talking, you don't understand the benefit of it. You don't understand how refreshing it is and how it's a weight lifting and things. Just take that leap, rip that band-aid off and talk.
And what age are you?
I'm going to be 40 in August.
40 in August. You're 39 just now, and it's taken, you've got 3 kids, you've lost your wife, and it's taken all of that, your entire life, till you were, 38, before you realised the importance of talking?
100%, yeah. And I wish I'd known it earlier.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be this messed up.
I think, considering what you went through, you seem to be doing just fine.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate that.
So, yeah. But I thank you again for coming on, and hopefully someone takes something from this. You know?
Hopefully, no, thanks for having me. It's been great. I'm disappointed we got no chicken wings, but never mind.
So now we need to do a part 2 and get chicken wings in.
Definitely,
So we're do it a year down the line.
That'd be
You can
great,
tell
yeah.
us how you're doing. But is there anything else you want to say while we're here?
I don't think so, bud. No, just please talk. Please talk. That's what I can say.
Yeah.
And I'll see you at Andy's Man Club.
Sounds good. Definitely, mate. Definitely. Michael, you all good?
All good.
Right, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of Voice for Dads. There's going to be text along the bottom there of support websites and helplines. I speak about this all the time on our podcast. Andy's Man's Club is all over the UK every Monday at 7 o'clock. There will be one near you. I cannot recommend it enough. Go along to an Andy's Man's Club. You don't even need to speak. You can just go along and listen. But the importance, as Scott says, the importance of talking, it is life-changing. So absolutely, please go along to Andy's Man's Club. If you're struggling with your mental health in any way, please reach out. Please talk to someone. Right, guys, thank you so much. Take care and speak to you all soon. Bye.
I found a love for me. Well, darling, just dive right in. Follow my lead. Well, I found a girl.